Spanish digital nomad. Getting a residence permit in 1 or 2 months. Articles are written about it and videos are shot about it. What's the catch? Why would a country provide such easy requirements and keep the acceptance rate at almost 100%? Well, at least we haven't had any rejections yet. A residence permit with access to permanent residence and a passport. Yes, a passport, according to the Digital Nomad program. Has it ever occurred to you that this is too good to be true? In general, this is true. You won't find such conditions anywhere else. Spain's Digital Nomad program is truly unique. First, a residence permit with access to permanent residence and a passport. Second, the approval is super quick, takes from 1 to 2 months. Third, as a tourist, and apply for the residence permit from within Spain. In other words, you can enter the country under a tourist Schengen visa, come to Spain, apply, and stay there. Moreover, it is also more convenient because in this case you are given a residence permit immediately for 3 years. While if you apply at the consulate, you will receive a visa for 1 year and you will have to apply for an extension during your first year. So, where is the catch, and is there one? There is none. The Spanish are not the kindest, but they can be quite cunning. Watch the hands. First, we opened the best program for remote workers in the European Union. Second, hundreds of thousands of people come under this program in the first few months. Each of them earns at least $2,520 per month. This is the minimum requirement for applying for Digital Nomad program. Fourth, they pay taxes at the rate of 24%. That is, at least $600 from each application for the Digital Nomad Visa. And now we count 100,000 people, each paying $660 million. Imagine how many people will come under this program in a year, in 2, in 3, in 5, and of course many come under this program not alone but with their families. For a family, it can be 1.5 to 2 or 3 times more expensive and accordingly more taxes. The law also states that a digital nomad must work abroad. The income that a digital nomad receives in Spain cannot exceed 20% of their total declared income. That is, almost all the money that digital nomads bring with them comes from outside and is invested in the Spanish economy. This means that for the Spanish government, this is not only a direct income, but also an indirect growth of the country's economy. They created a full business project on the scale of the entire country, as if it was an experiment. And let's bring highly qualified specialists who earn good money and rigidly apply a tax rate of 24% and see what happens. In this regard, a question that we are often asked at consultations regarding this program: is it possible to somehow take advantage of all the benefits of the Spanish Nomad program, but at the same time reduce the tax rate in some way? Or is it even better not to pay taxes at all? In the Spanish government, people are certainly not foolish, and in the new law on digital nomads, which we are discussing, they have included certain reservations that seem to be designed to deal with just such situations. In particular, will it be possible to extend your residence permit after 3 years if your income no longer meets the criteria for a digital nomad visa? From the experience of working with the bureaucratic of other countries, there are certainly many doubts. How will they check the level of income you have? What amount of taxes you pay? How will they take it into account? For what period? How significantly will it matter when extending a residence permit or obtaining permanent residence or citizenship? No one really knows. We have consulted with lawyers, but we have heard different opinions on this issue. The Digital Nomad program in Spain is, of course, record-breaking in terms of delivery time. Nowhere else in Europe can you obtain a residence permit as quickly, except perhaps for some individual exceptions, repatriation, family reunification, and so on. So what are the alternatives in Europe? Let's clarify. In general, Spain is one of the fastest countries to get a residence permit. We most often work with startup visas, and we recently had a case, literally this September, when we received approval for a startup visa in 2 weeks. This is even faster than what happens in most cases for digital nomads, but do not forget that in order to reach this result, we had a full month spent on translating documents, preparing a business plan, developing a financial model, and generally adapting the project to the Spanish market. And of course, this project must be completed. From the number of other programs in Europe, there is another one worth mentioning called Talent Passport Business Creation in France. We also sometimes call it France for 30,000 euros. The main point of the program is that you must show an investment of 30,000 for opening a company in France, which you can use in the future at your own discretion. In other words, you can deposit it to a special account in France and then transfer it to your newly opened company's account and use it as you like. This program is also characterized by record-breaking short deadlines and rather low requirements. Most of us can fit it. But of course, you should keep in mind that this is a business visa, a business residence permit, and the French regulators still expect to see from you a business plan and financial model and forecast from you. Is it possible to hide part of the income using, for example, cryptocurrency and show only part of the income to the Spanish regulator? We don't recommend doing this. In Europe, they strictly monitor compliance with tax laws and usually try to use legal ways to optimize the tax burden. It may sound seditious, of course. After 6% of self-employed or sole proprietors in general, 24% tax is a little different. In developed countries where the standard of living is high, you mostly won't find low taxes. Yes, there are tax reductions for tech entrepreneurs in Georgia. They can pay as low as 1%. Under certain conditions, you can open a window even with 0% taxes in the Emirates. But with all my love for these countries, I would not want to live there for my whole life. Can I get a Spanish digital nomad visa if I don't fully meet the criteria? Actually, in many cases, yes. In general, you can optimize the employment contract and some of the nuances of the documents for the program in Spain and the requirements of the regulator so that you look more suitable for the criteria in their eyes. But here you need to understand each individual case. So I invite you to a free consultation which you can book via link below this video, where we usually help you choose a program, country, and advise you on your specific case. What happens if the Spanish government declares the experiment a failure and the digital nomad program will be cancelled? Will people who have already received a residence permit lose it? Will they be able to get a passport if they have this type of residence permit? When answering this question, it is important to understand that Western European countries are quite stable in terms of laws. There is no such thing that today they adopt one law and tomorrow or in a month they decide to cancel it, roll it back, and so on. But yes, over a period of several years, the law may change. In this case, analyzing cases over the past 30 years regarding various closed programs, there have been many during this time, the residence permits already obtained are not cancelled or revoked. The government retains the possibility of switching from a residence permit to permanent residence and from permanent residence to citizenship. If you have already applied for a digital nomad visa, you will be allowed to stay in Spain. Even if your tourist Schengen visa has already expired, you can stay there until your case is considered.